How's it going, YouTube? My name is LB Ninja 7, your resident Mistweaver Monk and favorite healing WoW YouTuber. So guys, today we are making a full in-depth guide for the Caster Monk playstyle for 10.1. I am currently on the PTR, so things still are subject to change, but it is only a couple of days away for 10.1 to be live. So I figured now is a good time to kind of get in and what my thoughts are and how I've been testing it. I also do quickly want to just give a quick disclaimer. This build, it just does not have as much potential as Mistweaver, but it still has very close. I mean, you're still playing Mistweaver, you still have a lot of very powerful talents, and it just kind of opens you up to being able to play fun things and powerful things like Tear of Mourning. So it won't ever be as good as Mistweaver, so don't think that you can push to the same highs, but you can get close. So I've tried a bunch of different talents for Caster Monk, and the good thing about Caster Monk is that it can work with a lot of different shifts in the talent tree. But what I personally have found the most success with is this playstyle. Sorry, let me change this really quick. We were trying out Incorporeal, but this is kind of the talent tree. Now, I still have 1 point saved, and I'll explain that. Let's go ahead and get into the Monk talents. So, basic stuff, you're still going to be punching and kicking, so you still want to take these damage buffs. You could change it up in a way that you can get either of the statues, depending on how you like to play it. But this is just what I like personally. I like going double defensive. I like having at least 1 point into each of these buffs, but on fortified weeks, I put that extra point into Resonating Fist to get a bit more AoE damage. And on tyrannical weeks, I put that extra point here to get that extra bit of big healing, because we're going to be taking a little bit burstier of damage. So it's nice to give a little bit more healing to those guys. So now let's pull it over here. There's nothing really too worth going over on the Monk talent tree, but on the Mistweaver tree, there is a lot to talk about. So this is what I have liked. Now, there are some kind of nodes that you can choose between depending on how you like to play. So let's go ahead and get into those. First up, let's talk about Font of Life. This normally isn't taken in Mythic Plus because you're normally not pressing Essence Font too often. But what I've found in my testing is when you do play the Caster Monk playstyle, since you have a little bit less of your maintenance healing or a little bit less of that healing through your damage coming since you're not running Phaeline, you do have to press Essence Font before big burst windows come in, big burst damage come in, so that you have Essence Font and everyone so mastery procs twice. So you are pressing Essence Font a little bit more often than you probably like to, but it works really well with our tier set. So let's go and go over our tier set. Where is it? So Renewing Mist has a chance to give us basically 3% of our mana back over 3 seconds. So it'll just, every time that we press Renewing Mist, we have a chance. Those hot ticks are going to give us a chance to give us some mana back. And if we have our 4-piece, then Renewing Mist or Drinking a Tea will basically, or I'm sorry, the buff that Renewing Mist or Drinking a Tea will give us that same buff, so it'll still give us our 2-piece buff of the mana back, but it'll also give us a 40% bonus to our Renewing Mist healing and Vivify healing. So every couple of seconds we can have a buff on ourselves that will give us a big boost to healing. Now, it's worth mentioning that they have been nerfing this set down a lot, so it's still also subject to change, but in its current state, it is a lot worse than it was when it was first announced. So right off the bat, we're getting less mana back, but also they've added an internal cooldown, so this can only proc once every 6 seconds, and it's going to proc a lot less from our Renewing Mist, and we won't have control over that. Like, I could Renewing Mist, and there's a chance that I could not get any procs of it. But the way that we can control that is our T's. So our Mana Tea, see, we just got it there. But our Mana Tea and our Thunder Focus Tea can activate that, giving us boosted Vivify healing, Renewing Mist healing, and some mana back. So it's a really good tier set, and I do think having Thunder Focus Tea up more often is a great option since we can actually control that and control when we get that buff. So I do currently like Font of Life with this build. You will also note that I kind of chose Font of Life over Spirit of the Crane. I have in PTR notice that we've done a lot more casting healing than damaging than we have in Season 1. And that kind of just comes because in Season 1, our gear has outscaled a lot of the damage and a lot of the healing that we need to do. So we're just allowed to do more healing, and especially because tanks are overpowered, they can kind of help out with healing. So there we were allowed to press a lot more blackout kicks than in the PTR currently. But I do think that eventually we'll probably shift to where we can afford to press more Tiger Palms and blackout kicks and get a little bit more mana back. But also this does get less value since our tier set's giving us mana back. So there is that. So you could also go Spirit of the Crane. There are also a lot of different things that you can do here. You can pick either Celestial. I think either one is fine right now. I do think that Chi-Ji gets better when you run more of a Mastery focus build, since you're kicking up Gusts of Mastery. But Yu'lon is also fine. I mean, I'm not going to tell you that one's better than the other. Well, I will tell you that Chi-Ji is just better currently because we're running a lot of haste. And we're punching and kicking, and it lets us get value out of doing damage. But Yu'lon is still, it's very good, and I don't want you to think that it's unplayable, because it's not. So pick which one you prefer, since we're going in the caster build. But yeah, both are in a great spot right now. And then from that, I do think that this talent tree, having the 1 minute, I do think is a lot better with Yu'lon, because you can fit in a lot more enveloping mist in it in that 12-second cooldown, whereas you can fit a few less in with Chi-Ji, but you can still blanket your whole team in 12 seconds with Chi-Ji out. So it's not suboptimal to change this, but the 1 minute one is a little better. But if you like Jade Bond, go Jade Bond. If you like having those longer windows of your Celestial, there's nothing wrong with that, although it is just a little less uptime. So then there's this one, Ancient Teachings versus Cloud of Focus. Either one is fine. They both do good healing, but just know that Ancient Teachings, especially now that it's changed, it gives a lot of incentive to do damage. You're going to be doing some healing while damaging, which is always good and what makes Mistweaver so unique. So it's good to go this one. And then Cloud of Focus is kind of a trap. It does good healing, but you have to channel Soothing Mist on a single target and press 3 Vivifies or Enveloping Mist to get the max value out of it. So it's like if you're Vivifying one target 3 times, you're probably doing something wrong already. So I would recommend going the new and improved Ancient Teachings over Cloud of Focus. But if you like Cloud of Focus in that playstyle, feel free to take it. Also, you could take the points from Misty Peaks, and if you wanted to, you could go ahead and put a second point into Secret Infusion, and then down here to improve your Celestial even further. You could, I mean, you could take any of these talents. If you want to be a little bit more defensive, you can go Healing Elixir. But right now, currently, I have really enjoyed Misty Peaks. Since we're running Tear of Morning, these extra Enveloping Mists that you're going to be getting are going to be healing through your Renewing Mist that you're already applying, but you're getting also from your Rising Sun Kick and Enveloping Mist. So you just get really bursty windows with your Tear of Morning. Since we're going to be having, like, our Celestial is going to be applying Enveloping Mists and Renewing Mists, since we have Rapid Diffusion, and then those are all going to be healing through Tear of Morning, and you're just going to have a lot of HOTS bouncing around, and all those free HOTS are just going to allow you to press a little bit more damage, damaging buttons. You also could put a point from somewhere, maybe a Misty Peaks, or yeah, Misty Peaks point, or this one single Secret Infusion point. You could take it and put it into Uplifted Spirits, which feels even better this tier, since you need more Toxic Dispels or Toxin Dispels in things like Brackenhide Hollow or for affixes. So it is nice to have Revival up a bit more often, so that would be a fine choice if you prefer that. But other than that, the talent tree is very flexible, and there are a lot of different ways that you can go with Caster Monk, depending on your preferences. I just think that this is the most all-encompassing build and very beginner-friendly for the playstyle. But yeah, so that is the talents. So now let's talk about your stat weights. Now we're gonna take haste over everything. Haste is just very good. It gives a lot of damage because we're gonna be able to press more Rising Sun kicks, blackout kicks, and just more kicks in general and damage phases. We're also going to get a lot less of an opportunity to mess up. So if we're casting Vivify on one target and then another one takes damage, there's less of a amount of time where we can fix that and go and do another cast of Vivify. So it's just really good for healing, very good for beginners to just have a lot of haste, so they can just press a lot of buttons and make a couple of mistakes in the meantime. But it's just very good for healing and very good for damage. Then there is going to be crit. Crit does a lot of damage. It adds a lot to our damage, but it also adds a ton to our healing. Crit is very good on hot based specs, and with this playstyle focusing a little bit more on hots than your fist waving, then it's just very good for healing. Next up is going to be Verse when you're in high level keys, Mastery when you're in lower level keys or have lower level gears. So Verse scales very good for high level because it gives you more durability, more survivability, gives you a bit more damage, a bit more healing, but the higher you go in key levels, the more you're going to need to survive some of those bigger hits. Now, Mastery scales very good at lower levels, or if you're running Chi-Ji. because the higher your mastery is, it is a flat proc based on your mastery percentage. So if you're a low item level but have a lot of mastery, that mastery is going to chunk people and do a good bit of healing. So, but the higher you go, your other heals are going to chunk people. So you're going to want to scale off of how much intellect you have, or how big those heals are by going crit, haste, and versatility. So that is the stat weight. I would say it's haste above everything, and then crit barely outweighs versatility, and then versatility outweighs mastery. Unless you're very low item level and just starting Mistweaver, you're going to want to get a little bit more mastery going. Now let's talk about the damage rotation. So it's very similar to Fistweaver. I mean, you still use all the same synergies except for your Feline synergies. That is the only thing that's different about your damaging. So most notably, when you press spinning crane kick, it will not be doing healing since you are not running Feline. So you can still press this on 4+ targets to maximize just damage, but it is a little bit riskier since you're not doing maintenance healing through it. You're going to have to stop eventually and heal since you're not doing healing while doing your damage. So pressing spinning crane kick is best at 4+ targets. Now your 3 or below targets is going to be your typical single target damage rotation, and this goes very well with your ancient teaching. So if you chose ancient teachings over clouded focus, your single target damage rotation will do your healing, so you'll have to stop doing damage less often. You can stay doing damage while also getting the healing done. So we're going to apply our ancient teachings buff by pressing essence font. We're going to rising sun kick first. If it's off cooldown and you have 1 to 3 targets, you're going to want to press it. And then from there, you're going to press blackout kick if it's off cooldown. Hopefully you can stack up a Tiger Palm. So how it works is if you have this talent, every Tiger Palm stacks up an additional blackout kick. So if I press Tiger Palm once, the next time that I press blackout kick, it'll hit twice. It'll hit 1 additional time since I pressed 1 Tiger Palm. So we're gonna rising sun kick on cooldown. We're gonna have 1 stack of our Tiger Palm and a blackout kick. So since rising sun kick was not reset there, we're just gonna keep cycling Tiger Palm, blackout kick. But now since rising sun kick is off cooldown, we're gonna press it and blackout kick, hoping to reset the cooldown. And then Tiger Palm, blackout kick, Tiger Palm, blackout kick. Still not getting reset. There's the reset. There we go. So it's very simple 1 to 3 target rotation. Ideally prioritizing the one with the highest health, or just the one that we might need to kick so that we can have it already focused. Now, so that's the damage. It's a very simple damage rotation since damage is not directly related to your healing as much as with fist weaving. There's not as much to go over in terms of damage. It's very simple, just simple. Focus your rising sun kick and then just fish for resets with your Tiger Palms and with your blackout kicks. Other than that, let's talk about the healing. Now, the healing gets a lot burstier. Oh, I just got a follower on Twitch. I'm not even live right now. But the healing does get a lot burstier. It's a lot more celestial focused with the caster build than fist weaving. Since your damage doesn't do healing, you're gonna have to focus more on your applied healing, the healing that you actually apply yourself. So we're gonna make sure that we have renewing mist. Hopefully we can keep it off cooldown with by relying on the rapid diffusion. So if we're getting a lot of rising sun kicks off, then we can have the party kind of, you know, have 2 or 3 out at all times. But if not, we're going to make sure that we have it off cooldown so that we always have renewing mist out on someone. And then we're going to be pressing our vivification on cooldown. Whenever this is off or whenever it's ready, we're going to press it. We're going to press vivify, get that instant vivify. It's just great value. Whenever there are big damage instances coming, so if we know that a boss mechanic is about to pop and hurt our whole party, or if we see a big swirly that people are going to stand in, we're just going to channel in Essence Font. Especially if you're running Ancient Teachings, we want to have that ready to go so that our kicks will heal everyone with our Ancient Teachings. But if not, we just want this hot rolling on people, and we want that Essence Font to apply Mastery twice. See, Gust of Mist heal will heal affected targets twice. So we want to have that out before big damage instances. And then now what to do after people have taken damage? Well, a good way to start, if we don't want to use one of our 3 major cooldowns, Revival, our Celestial either being Yu'lon or Chi-Chi, or Shaylun's Gift, then we can just press Vivify. It's such a great amount of healing. I would recommend starting in that case where everyone's taking big damage, say everyone's at 20% health, I would start with at least one Enveloping Mist to give them bonus healing, since Enveloping Mist gives bonus healing, and then start hitting people with Vivifies, because Vivify will be cleaving through Invigorating Mists, and that one Enveloping Mist hot will also be cleaving through Tear of Warning, as well as your Vivify will have boosted healing from that Enveloping Mist, and will heal more through the cleave through Tear of Warning. So all 5 people take big bursty damage. We're going to make sure that we have Essence Font out before that damage comes through. We're going to use our 2 Renewing Mist charges hopefully before that damage comes through, and then now the damage hits, we're going to apply an Enveloping Mist and then just cast Vivify on some of the targets to top people up. It's really that simple. Where it gets a little bit more complicated is how to actually use our cooldown. So with Revival, this is kind of like our catch-all. It's our panic button. So it's not worth diving too deep into, but you usually just press this when you in an instant need to do a lot of damage. It's kind of like our last option. We want to have it in the reserve as long as possible and then use it when it's absolutely necessary. So it just does a big burst of healing. It doesn't even show the health numbers because these guys are not in my party, but it basically hits everyone for a chunk of healing and will cleanse them. Also, it's worth noting that it is a Master Spell, and that's probably its best use, is just using it as a Master Spell. Now, Yu'lon, I'm going to talk about Yu'lon, and I'll talk a little bit about Chi-Ji. Yu'lon, we summon her, and then we start pressing Enveloping Mist on our party. She'll be breathing on people, healing them herself, but let's go ahead and read her. So, summons an effigy of Yu'lon, the Jade Serpent, for 12 seconds, since we have this talent down here. Gift of the Celestial. So Yu'lon will heal injured allies with Soothing Breath, healing them, and up to 2. So she'll heal 3 people at once. But she also makes her Enveloping Mist cost less mana. So it's great. It's a great use to summon Yu'lon. We're going to apply that cocoon to everyone when we summon our Celestial. So summon Yu'lon, and then we're just going to do Enveloping Mist. Apply a couple of Enveloping Mists. Also noting that we should have some Renewing Mists out, and they're going to be healing through. See, all these ticks aren't just coming from our Renewing Mists and our Enveloping Mist ticking, but also from those Renewing Mists, allowing our Enveloping Mist to cleave through it with Tear of Warning. So it just allows for a lot of burst, because not only are people going to have boosted healing from that Enveloping Mist on themselves, they're going to take that big chunk hot from Enveloping Mist, but also cleave onto everyone else. So once we summon Yu'lon, we're going to have a lot of Enveloping Mist out cleaving on everyone. It's just going to be a lot of healing. So that's a good way to do some big bursty damage, or I'm sorry, some big bursty healing and take care of some big bursty damage. Another way is Sheilun's Gift. Now, as you see, I went for Veil of Pride. Since we need more opportunities or more instances of big bursty healing at our disposal, I went Veil of Pride. And also, we're not going for big bursty spinning crane cake sessions with Xiao's lesson. So with Veil of Pride, we're going to have Sheilun's Gift charge up in half the amount of time. So as long as we're in combat, which you see here, I've been in combat, we're stacking up. There are 7 stacks ready for us to go. This is a great way to top everyone up. It does so much healing. Just watch this. 193, and it hits, as long as we have this talent, it hits 5 people. So it does so much healing, and it's a great panic button. As long as we stay in combat, we're gonna have that charged up, and feel free to rip it off on like 5 or 6 stacks, and it'll just do the amount of healing proportional to however many stacks you have charged up. So right here I have 3 stacks out. I'll get to 4. Let's get to 4, and now let's go ahead and fire it off, and it did 60,000 healing to 5 people. So it's just a great cooldown, and it charges up so fast with Veil of Pride. Veil of Pride, yeah, it charges up very fast. It's a great panic button that has a lot less of a cooldown than Revival and just fills in those blank spots. So let's really quickly talk about just a couple of quick, really easy tips to remember. So when our tank is just about to pull a pack, the first thing that you always want to do is you want to channel Soothing Mist on your tank as he runs toward that pack, and you want to apply an Enveloping Mist to him. Let me get closer. So act like I'm the tank. We're back here. We're channeling Soothing Mist on him, and we cast Enveloping Mist, and then we press Zen Pulse. Now Zen Pulse is going to strike twice since we have Echoing Reverberation, and it is so much bursty damage at the start of a pool that it's just worth pressing. And then we're going to run up and be with the tank and just spinning crane kick if there's 4+ targets, or just go ahead and start, you know, get our ancient teachings rolling and start our, you know, 3 to 1 target damage rotation, if that's applicable, until people take damage. If it's 1 to 3 targets, we should already get some healing through our ancient teachings, but if not, we need to just go ahead and start doing those, healing those damage patterns that I just went over with our renewing mist, vivify cleaving, enveloping mist cleaving through our Tear of Mourning, and focus on that. But we want to get as much damage out as possible before that healing needs to be done, so we're going to do the most optimal form of damage. So spinning crane kick on 4+ targets, and do our little single target 3-button rotation on 1 to 3 targets. And it's really that simple. There are some more intricate interactions that you can go, but that just comes through changing up your talents and just testing out what's best with you, what you like the most. But the best thing about Caster is that it's so flexible since you're not tied to this Fey line, although like I said before, that is getting a little bit more of a quality of life improvement. But you're just so flexible and you can kind of go anywhere you want with the talents. This is just my recommended build, and I hope that you guys try it out and enjoy it yourselves, because I think there's still a lot of optimization to be done with Caster if you want to be able to push it to its limits. But this is a great start for you guys, and what I've been having the most success and fun playing so far in the PTR. And I hope that you guys like this video and are ready for 10.1. I so am ready for 10.1, especially fist weaving. There are plenty of guys that I have ready to go for fist weaving for 10.1. I just made a 10.0.7 guide for it, so it'll probably be in a week or so before I release that. So stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss any of these videos. Anything that changes, I'll make sure and be the first to tell you guys. So make sure and hit subscribe so you don't miss any news. Very quickly, I want to thank eatdough.com. They are the first company to ever support my YouTube career. So make sure you guys use the link down below to get 10% off. You get cookies and cream. There's a hazelnut. There's chocolate chip. It's just so good and healthy for you. So make sure you guys order some using my link down below. Now, let me know what you guys want to see down below in the comments, because I want to test the raid a lot more. I want to get some more Mythic Plus keys out for you guys, and I also want to make some healing guides per dungeon. So let me know down below what you guys want to see. Make sure you guys like the video if you like it. Let me know what you guys would change about this build down in the comments below. And guys, I had a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun on the PTR playing this build, so I hope that you guys enjoy it like I do. But I'm going to be swapping back to Fistweaver to kind of prep for the raid coming out and prep for Mythic Plus push. And guys, stay tuned for all that content, and make sure you guys hit subscribe on your way out. I have been LB Ninja 7. I appreciate you guys watching this far. Take care.